No
I would
question.
100% agree. I would venture to say that some companies that have actually retailers and multi-site restaurant chains and hotel chains that by putting the right charging infrastructure at the hotel or at the shopping center, they've attracted business. We're going to get to the point where that's going to start to be tracked. That how much business was a direct, result to my bottom line.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Lots, the Pavement Group podcast. I have a tremendous guest on today. Gentleman that's new with our company, certainly not new to our industry and specifically the EV arena. And he's going to share some of the things that he's learned along the way, why he came to the Pavement Group, and talk a little bit about the initiative that we have going towards electric vehicle charging and some other cool stuff. So I want to welcome to the show Mr. Chris Lambert. How are you, buddy?
I am well, Todd. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I love your backdrop. So, I want to learn a little bit about you and share with our audience a little bit about who you are. You came to work for us in September. You've been in facilities sales, mostly with facility service providers for about 20 years, 25 years, something like that.
Yeah, 25 years. I've kind of been here a while. It means I'm getting a little older, right, Todd? That's what 25 years in the industry.
You would never guess. I mean, look at your hair. I'm very jealous. I
Oh,
generally don't have people with better hair than me on the pod, but you're such a special guest that I allowed it. But you look tremendous, dude.
thank you,
So
Todd.
the
I look great for seven. I look great for 70, I think.
you look terrific. But the concert posters behind you, that's a real passion of yours. I can see a lot of Pearl Jam. You
Oh
follow
yeah,
those guys around the country a little bit.
yeah. I'm a little bit of a fanatic, right? That's where the term fan comes from. But
Sure.
it's a huge passion of mine. I learned how to play the guitar. I want to say 8 or 10 years ago. Really, COVID. You're down in your basement. It's COVID. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I bought a couple electric guitars, started playing a little bit. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, Pearl Jam is. There's a lot of grunge era bands. It kind of tells you my age, right? Coming out of the '90s, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Smashing Pumpkins, Jane's
Uh,
Addiction. So I love
love it.
all that music, and it sure is a passion for me. And I love touring as if I'm with the band now, but I love touring with Pearl Jam when I'm on the road.
Nice. So you started on an electric. That's how you taught yourself guitar or learned
I
guitar.
learned on an acoustic guitar.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, first, and then it's just not enough, and you want a little heavier sound, a little more overdrive, and that's probably why my left ear is a little bit starting to
Yeah.
go on me a little bit. Probably that's the one that faces the amp, but love playing guitar. Just love being on the road. Music, yeah, for most people, for most humans, right? Music is a great thing for everybody.
No, agreed, man. I love Pearl Jam. What's your favorite PJ show that you've ever been to?
I have a poster right behind me over my right shoulder here. That's Pearl Jam, Fenway Park.
Okay.
2016, I was up there for both shows and returned again 3 years later. So I don't know what it is. Something about Boston. Love Fenway. Love the atmosphere. I love the people. And
It's
being
the
a New
people.
Yorker, that's kind of ironic, but the people of Boston are amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think there's a real mutual respect between New Yorkers and Boston. We've got our sports rivalries and our food
Agreed.
rivalries and all that stuff. But I really think underneath it all, it's like, let's say this country goes to war state by state. I think we're linking up in Boston and New
I
York.
think so too. I
Yeah.
think we're going to join. We'll join forces. And Jersey, I don't know. We'll talk about Jersey some other time, but
Right.
definitely New York and Boston will get together.
Oh, we need somewhere to park all the vehicles.
That's right.
That's what Jersey will be there for, you know?
I love everybody in Jersey. I'm kidding.
Oh, me
They're
too,
my
man.
neighbor now, so I got to be careful.
Yeah, man. So where are you living?
I'm down in coastal Delaware,
Okay.
down in the Rehoboth Beach area. I'm a New Yorker my whole life. Grew up on Long Island for 35, 40 years. Moved to Pennsylvania recently for a job change. Love Pennsylvania as well, but I'm the kind of guy that I have gills behind my ears, and if I'm not
Yeah.
near the water, if I'm not on a boat, I'm not happy. So I moved. I'm literally 2.5 miles from the coast at this point.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's such a
Yeah,
beautiful area down
it,
there.
it,
You
it
said
is
it's called
beautiful.
the Delmarva? Is
They
that what
call
it
it
is?
Delmarva. I just found that out myself. It's Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. All three states share the peninsula down here.
This peninsula. Okay. I
One
never heard
side
of
is
that.
one side's the Chesapeake Bay. The other side is Delaware.
Gotcha. Very cool. All right, so let's talk about EV. Let's talk about electric
Yeah.
vehicles, infrastructure specifically. And we've decided that we've had a lot of clients that have come to us and say, "Hey, do you guys do this?" Because when they're doing renovations, hotels, for example, they're ripping up the parking lot. They know that EV is going to be in demand. It's already just a large degree in demand, and they want that to be part of the parking lot project. So you and I met, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago and started the conversation about your background, and you knew way more about it than anybody I had met before. How did you learn so much about the space? And will you talk a little bit about what you did, how you've educated yourself, and kind of what you've seen change in the industry over the years?
Sure. You and I have talked many, many times about it's not if, it's when. And the unique opportunity of me coming here to the Pavement Group was that I saw that you guys were already engaged in some of these NEVI programs from a civil side of that work, and that would be your paving, your trenching, your directional boring, your line striping, bollards, cement pads. So that's kind of what intrigued me to come here for the work that's out there. And I know, as much as I know, there's always someone that knows more, right? So I want to be careful when I say my expertise in my lane is definitely focused within the infrastructure vertical. When it comes to OEMs, there's so many OEMs out there, and there's so many people. I meet people every day
Now,
from.
let me stop you there. You say OEMs. Will you just describe what you mean by OEM? Because I think that's going to come up a lot, that term in this
Yeah,
conversation.
it just means original equipment manufacturer. There's so many that are out there. You have your Blinks, your Electrify Americas, your EV Connects, EV Go. EV Go is pretty popular in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Whenever I was charging,
Yep.
Mustang Mach-E, so I'd always charge at an EV Go right off the Jersey Turnpike or at a Walmart. Usually that was level 3 DC fast chargers, but that's really what it means with OEM. But I think over the last like 12 months, there's been 100. I read this somewhere, and I know it to be true because I cannot believe how many different marketing campaigns are going up. But there's been 100 new OEMs to enter the marketplace. Right
So
now, you have
100 new manufacturers.
correct
And when we think about that, we're thinking of like the actual charging station that
correct.
okay.
Yep, the charging stations themselves.
Yep.
ChargePoint is way out in front. They have like 31,000 locations, 56,000 charging ports, and Tesla. Tesla was out. If this is a race to who gets the most market share with the most uptime. Tesla was way out in front. I know everybody gets geeked out about their cars. They are great cars. They're super fast. They're exciting.
Sure.
But it's their infrastructure that they built out early on, and it wasn't just level 2. It was level 3 because they were innovative enough to see, hey, this is the future of these DC fast chargers.
Okay. So level 3 is a fast charger, basically.
Correct. There's different. They have different kilowatt chargers now that are coming out. There's even higher. I've heard some new ones that are coming out. There are 600 kilowatt chargers coming out. But Tesla continues to be at the forefront of innovation. They have the largest network when it comes to what NEVI standards are, 4 miles off that highway. I think
Okay.
they call them destination stations. They're putting them at diners and any place where you're going to stop for 30 minutes or longer. I've seen a bunch at Wawa. There's a lot of Wawas. I think Tesla and Wawa has a great relationship.
Sure.
And I know early and often Tesla would give away some of that equipment. I think now they're giving it away at cost.
Okay.
And that's forcing some of these other companies like ChargePoint to actually say, hey, are we going to give it away just to gain market share, or are we going to charge a premium for our fast charger?
I got you. So NEVI, that's the infrastructure program, right? From the federal government, they put $5 billion out there, I believe.
Yeah, all it stands for is National EV Infrastructure. That's the acronym for NEVI.
Okay.
But
So you referenced there's a standard there. You need to be within 4 miles of a major highway to
yeah,
qualify
there's a
for that grant money. Is that what it is?
yeah, a lot of times when you try to get grant money, there's a lot of hoops that you have to jump through. The government's making it very easy to access this money. 4 miles from any major highway is the starting point. There is other criteria that boxes that you have to check to get
Yeah.
that money, but it's not in working with some of the applications. It's not overly difficult in any way to grab that money.
I get you. So what's the advantage for Tesla to start giving that infrastructure away for free? Is that just building some brand loyalty, or is there an ROI that's based on?
Initially it was for brand loyalty. It was to say, hey, we have the largest infrastructure that's out there. Go buy a Tesla. And honestly, it became cultish. I hate to say it that way to a certain degree, and good for Tesla, and the company itself. So they've built out a pretty large network. They have 6,000 locations, I think 33,000 ports, but they have more L3s than L2. So the L2 is a 240 volt application. Where that's really good is probably your home, or if you're in a residential application in a parking garage and you're at maybe a multi-site high rise and you have all night to park. Level 2 is a great way to recharge your car. But if you're fast and on the go and you're on the side of a highway, you want level 3. You want DC fast charging as soon as possible to get you on your way. Most of these C stores, and that's why we're looking to partner with a lot of these C stores on EV infrastructure here at TPG. I think there's a huge opportunity for them to capture that business. If you know anybody in the C store business, it's not the fuel where they make the money. It's actually bringing that customer into the store. So,
Sure.
Admittedly, I've sat at a C store charging, and what do I need? A bottle of water, a pack of gum. You go in there for that, and next thing you know, you're coming out with a hero, and it's you're buying more than you probably anticipated, and it's a great application for a C store.
So so they have fast charging, the level 3 fast charging. You have a Tesla, or like you have a Mustang. What's it called? The Mach 3?
Yeah, Mustang Mach-E.
Mach-E. Okay.
Not to be confused with the original Mustang, but
what's the fastest
cool.
charge, like full charge, you could find? Like if you're almost empty, what's the quickest charger out there for you now? Like how much time would the quickest charger take?
It takes anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes on a DC fast charger, depending on who's already there, what type of car you have, condition. Okay. If it's wintertime, it charges slower. If it's summertime, it charges quicker. A lot of folks don't realize the range is affected by those winter conditions, because if you're in a winter environment, you actually have a blanket that surrounds your battery pack that keeps it at a constant temperature around 70 degrees. So you lose some range because of that. But quite honestly, the way that the charging systems are set up is they want you to charge as fast as possible to 80%, and then you trickle charge after that. So the idea is you're always working at 80%. You get there, you charge, you get to 80% really, really quick, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. You jump off and let the next customer on because you're good. You're at 80% again. It's no more like popping the tank. If you're an old guy like me that's been around and you've been filling up your Ram truck or whatever it may be, there's no topping the tank off. Yeah. You're just getting to 80% and then you're moving on to your next destination.
Okay. I got you. So what have you seen change with the infrastructure I guess it wasn't 20 years ago you started doing this, but let's say 10 years ago when you were heavily involved in the first rollouts. What's different now from the equipment and the overall strategy of the rollouts?
Yeah, pretty much everything is different. It's such a renaissance in the way that this is moving, and it's moving so fast. I think if you really pulled somebody into a private room and said, even the CEO of some of these companies, where do you think this is headed? I don't think many of them know where it's headed. But what they do know for sure, what they do know for sure is that, hey, we have federal money as long as the federal government is backing us to get this infrastructure put in place. And that for the foreseeable future, we're looking at 2 to 3 years of super sustained growth, really fueled by the rebates. But not only the rebates, there are plenty of companies that just realize that, hey, this is a green initiative. We should be doing this, and we should be offering charging for our customers. So, Todd, you and I have talked at great length about shopping centers and different facilities that are maybe getting a mill and pave, right? They're going to lay down a parking lot. And I've often said this to you and the customer, it's not if, it's when that EV infrastructure will be required. So many times what we're doing is, got off a call recently with Dutch Brothers Coffee. They're actually proactively laying some of these conduits in when they have to do a full parking lot.
Okay.
So those conduits are being laid in. They're being proactive about it.
That's smart.
They see at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel, that it's not if, it's when that we have to do this.
Okay. So just tell me how that works. Just somebody's listening doesn't really totally understand it completely. You've got your power source on the property somewhere, right? And if you're going to go, say, a level 2, do you have to upgrade that power source? Do you need a transformer for that? Do you start talking transformers more at level 3?
Yeah, so the irony of this whole thing is that when we talk about EV infrastructure, you also have to talk about the existing infrastructure that's there from the power grid, right?
Yeah,
And in many cases, and I've done some Ford audits through the years where I did 30 Ford audits, really for throughout the Mid Atlantic, the East Coast, the Northeast. I thought it was about 90%. I would say 9 out of 10 facilities that we went there to put either 5 to 6 level 2 chargers or even 3 level 3 chargers, DC fast chargers. The infrastructure, quite honestly, wasn't there.
okay,
So what you have to do is you have to then reach out to the utility. You want to put a transformer pad down. You want to do a transformer drop, then to support that new load. Fortunately for me, that's been my whole life, is to do these audits, and go to every site and figure out what each site's going to be unique. You might have some of these newer buildings have the power to put 2 or 3 level 2s or
sure.
1 or 2 level 3s, but that's about it. So depending on what your expansion plans look like, you really have to plan for that, and really getting with the right partner. Of course, I'd love to say today that we're the only partner that does this, but we are a
We
trusted
are
partner.
only
Yes,
partner.
we're,
Nobody else
we're,
out there.
we're the only company out there, right, Todd?
This is it. Yep,
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
the only option now.
I know
Sure.
some of my colleagues that are out there, and there are a few companies out there, but what
No,
really has, because it is like the Wild West, we have to be careful. If you're a customer looking to put EV on your property, you do have to partner with the right companies.
yeah.
There's too many companies that are so-called, hey, we're EV infrastructure experts, and the truth is they're really not. So getting with the right partner is also critical,
Agreed.
in establishing what your future looks like with EV.
Yeah, and I think it's such a natural fit to what we do. It's sort of adjacent to the parking lot, so to speak. And we are digging up these parking lots all the time. So, working on the infrastructure piece, the civil piece, as you call it, we can help people around the country with this because we already have everything that we have in place, and it was kind of a natural fit there. So, as far as the future, you talked about that, like the CEOs of these companies, 2, 3 years out, there's a grants, there's a little bit of this NEVI money that's out there. So you sort of know the infrastructure is going to expand, but nobody really knows where it's going to go, because there's other competing technologies coming into the marketplace. Is that sort of what it is? I know
Yeah,
Toyota's got their own idea about. Obviously, we're moving away from the combustion engine as a whole with vehicles in the next 20, 30 years is really the plan. But it might not be electric. That's some things that I've heard. And where do you come in on that?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I'm a very confused household with it, with an EV in the household and a Ram truck. So it's like on one
Yeah,
side of it, I have this gas guzzler that I go to
sure,
projects, actually, to go look at projects. The other side of it is the Mustang Mach E, right, that my wife has. And I think a lot of America is kind of torn, where they don't, it seems like a great idea if we could go EV, but I don't know if I want to buy an EV because I'm not sure if the infrastructure is there. So it's really the chicken or the egg right now.
sure.
But there's definitely companies, federal money, state money, where folks, they're just, municipalities, they're committed, uh,
Oh yeah.
moving forward.
I,
But you
I
and
think
I
the
are
market's
also
already saturated to some degree. Like if you're a facilities person, you
agreed.
have to put in these charging stations, or you're gonna lose a chunk of the population, a chunk of your potential customer base.
I,
No
I would
question.
I would 100% agree. I would venture to say that some companies that have actually retailers and multi-site restaurant chains and hotel chains, that by putting the right charging infrastructure at the hotel or at the shopping center, they've attracted business. We're going to get to the point where that's going to start to be tracked. That how much business was a direct result to my bottom line.
Yep.
At some point, we'll be able to track that and know that. But right now, if you're a multi-site retailer, you're a Starbucks, you're Target, you're Walmart. They're already doing it because they see that, hey, we have a certain segment of our customers, and it's about to become larger,
Yep.
that needs charging, and why not let them charge while they're shopping in our store?
So do you choose your hotels as someone, if you're out in the Mustang, you're going somewhere overnight, do you choose your hotel based on the availability of EV, and do you choose a restaurant based on that? Like, are you
One
that
hundred
conscious
percent.
of it?
Yeah, 100%. In fact, it's not just, hey, do they have a charging facility when I get there? Is how reliable is that facility? We talk about Tesla. I think Tesla is unique because, and this is not a knock on ChargePoint, but most of the charge point sites that I've been to early on, now there's Gen 1, Gen 2 out there for charge point. I'm sure Gen 3 and Gen 4 for charge point is a much better charging unit. But the worst thing that can happen to you is that you're taking this long trip, you're going to your level 3 charger to charge, and it's either down or somebody is on it because there's not enough charging capacity, or it's just down.
Sure.
So I've chosen hotels. There's only like 3 or 4 back in New York when I travel back to Long Island, where I'm from, and I know where they are. And it's frightening to know that when I get there, they may or may not be working because what else can you do at that point? So I do believe it's critical that the infrastructure grows. It's kind of like having a Conestoga wagon where you got to kind of plan your trip out. You can't just get in your car and go somewhere. But I think most EV owners know that, and they're used to it. They're just it's part of what you signed up for.
Well, it's sort of like part of the mindfulness of the entire movement, I think, right?
Yeah.
The planning and not just going and burning fuel, whatever. There's plenty more. It's being a little bit more mindful, a little more planned out, probably a little more selective. And when you do go and travel, right, and burn up that electricity.
Yep. I know. Before you had mentioned to me, where are we headed, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about, where have we come from.
Perfect. I was just going to bring it back to that because I wanted to ask.
Oh, good,
I wanted to
yeah.
ask that a little bit more. So.
And I think it's relevant only because a lot of folks in the industry are like, hey, does this have any sustainability? Is there any legs? Is this going to actually go forward? And they're not really sure about it. And that's kind of why they have their toe half in the water. I would 100%, if I had to put double and triple down my money, EV infrastructure is here to stay. EV charging is here to stay. But what does that look like? 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road. That's the part that I don't think people really know where it's headed. I brought up Toyota in one of my conversations with you, Todd, about they're developing an ammonia engine, right? And ammonia is hard to combust compared to fossil fuel, petro, but it is clean. They've gotten it to the point, and even the CEO of Toyota, which has Prius, is not 100% sold on EV. And then there are companies like Volvo that's 150% in, and that they're going to get rid of all of their fossil fuel gasoline engines by, I don't know, it's 2025. I think it's only coming up in 2 or 3 years from now where they're going to start phasing those cars out. So I really do think it's here to stay. But if you go back 15 years ago, when I started with my first company, at one point in time, we were putting more charging stations in than any 10 providers combined. Wow. University of Houston, University of Texas, and University of California. And what was happening was, and this is not a political thing, when gas got cheap, it kind of dried up that whole movement for EV. Fast forward, we get to the current administration that we have today, and you can see that this administration, whether you like the administration or not, if we're talking about EV, they're doubling and tripling down on supporting EV infrastructure. So that's why I think whenever some people say you're artificially propping something up, I don't agree with that. I just think that they think it's important. They think it's the future. And I will say, regardless of what we see down the road, whether it be a hybrid coming back again, ammonia engines, EV, it's never going to be a silver bullet when it comes to green energy. It's going to be more of a shotgun effect. We're going to have everything. We're going to have hybrid, we're going to have EV, and we're going to have ammonia engines. So I think it's going to be all of the above.
So as someone that's been in the industry for a bit, like 2015, 2016, did you see a real slowdown because gas prices came way down?
Yeah, once gas got to near $2, I mean, it was like 210, 225. Yeah. And clearly, hey, we're gonna frack, we're gonna burn coal, we're gonna do all of it. That the energy cost just came way down. I think at that time we supplied more energy than any other country in the world at that point in time. So whether that's, we can talk about ethical, we can talk about environment, we can talk about a lot of things. I'm talking about the economy itself and how
they're genuine kind of bellwethers, though.
Correct.
And do you think there's just too much momentum now that even if, say, Trump gets in 2024 to really kind of slow this movement down? I mean, it seems like it's just kind of snowballed in the last 3 or 4 years.
I don't see this stopping anytime in the near future. And let's just say Trump was elected, and gas would come down. I just think that people think it's the right thing to do. It's the battery manufacturing is changing. It's getting cleaner. But you have to be careful. So there's two sides of this coin. You have evangelists that are out there that saying EV is what we should be doing, and they don't want to hear about anything else. You have folks like me that are in the middle that, hey, there's a solution for everything. Sure, we can do EV infrastructure for you, but there are other, there are hybrid options. There are other options for you for a vehicle. Then you have folks that are like, we shouldn't be doing any of this. It's a waste of time. And you know how it is. You have three camps. Somewhere in the middle, you have the camp that says, let's go green, and the camp that says we shouldn't be doing any of this. I truly believe this is a great solution. Is it the only solution? No, I think we'll find out there are other solutions as well.
Yeah. That's cool, man. It's exciting, and it's been neat for me to learn a whole lot about it over the last few months, spending some time with you and some other folks. We had a great meeting the other night with someone that's on the fleet side of things. It's electrified entire fleets, and just hearing about what it's the greatest part of this country, just innovation. And
it's so cool.
It's not just, all right, we're all going to do it this way. Everybody's got different ideas, and we're at the beginning of kind of a boom here with this. It's neat, man. It's neat to, again. And I appreciate all the information that you share with me and your passion for it. So I guess I'll set you up with one last question.
Sure.
Put you on the hot seat here. Why do you think the Pavement Group and our TPG Mobility initiative is the right fit for for hotels, C-stores, restaurants? Why do you think we're the best fit for someone that's looking for an infrastructure provider?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's also the reason I'm here is that, there's a lot of ways to tackle a turnkey solution, right? There are companies that are electrical contractors doing the electrical work. And then there's the whole other side of the equation that, who's going to do the boring, the trenching, the line striping, the non-illuminated signage, all of the other requirements that are necessary, the ADA requirements, which we could have a whole nother podcast just talking about ADA, but there are a lot of these requirements in a turnkey application. And I came to you guys because I said, hey, these guys are already kind of doing all this civil work, and my background's electrical, so I thought it was a perfect fit. So I do believe the folks that we have here, our expertise, our people, culture is everything. I mean, the people here at TPG is like nothing I've ever met. I'm waiting to wake up tomorrow, and this was just a dream, and this never happened, because there aren't companies like that when it comes to what I call extreme customer service or a customer experience. But then we also have technology. We have our properties technology platform and mobile app that can capture these audits in real time, take photographs of the existing conditions at a site. And I think when you partner, I call it high touch meets high tech, right? So we have the technology, but we also have the high touch. And when you put those two together, I think that's just a great combination or cocktail for a great relationship with a partner.
Yeah. Boy, that summarizes it really well. High touch with high tech, because a lot of people use technology to create less touches. Really.
I agree.
And we're just at our core a human company, I think. And like you said, the opportunity to experience some of the incredible people we have working on our team, on top of our technology, on top of the people are much more important than the tech is, but the tech's pretty cool, and it streamlines things and allows us to do stuff that a lot of other companies just aren't really able to. So I'm glad you said that, because I couldn't agree more. That's pretty neat to hear from someone that.
That's just it's just the way right from the heart. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, well, it's why you fit in here too, though. What I've noticed about you, Chris, is you pick up the phone and people you've known for 20 years answer right away, and then you have a meeting, and then you have an opportunity. That says a lot about the person that you are. Clearly, you've always said, done what you said you were going to do, and you've innovated in your career and taken great care of these people. So
thank you.
It's a real testament, and so we're happy to have you here, man. It's so pumped. 2024.
I'm happy to be here. I love being here.
It's going to be a huge year for us with this TPG mobility rollout, the EV infrastructure, being able to offer just a next level solution to all our great clients. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for dropping some knowledge on the Talking Lots podcast here.
And my favorite part of the whole podcast was actually the Pearl Jam conversation. So we'll talk about that offline.
We're going to have many more. So as this thing evolves and we keep growing, we'll keep jumping on here and talking about it. So thank you, Chris. And everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Talking Lots podcast on the TPG Podcast Network, hosted on the Brian Hess channel, as you know. But we've got all our shows on there. This particular one drops every Monday. Grateful for all of you. And go over to the Brian Hess channel on YouTube, check it out, see some of the other shows that are happening. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of good informative stuff. And we'll keep bringing you great guests like Mr. Lambert. And grateful for you all.